I have a feeling that something big is going to be happening very, very soon with Warhammer 40,000 and the lore. Now, before we go into that theory, I just want to say that this video contains spoilers from the latest Beckwin novel, which is Penitent by Dan Abnett. So if you haven't read that, please leave now. And it also is going to contain spoilers from the latest Primarch novel, Alfarius. If you haven't read that, then again, please leave now. This is your first and last warning. So I think it's best that we all start on the same page. So I'm going to do a little bit of a summary of Penitent, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a summary of Alfarius. Now, in the novel Penitent, it's revealed that the King in Yellow is Valdor. Potentially it's Valdor at this point. It could be a good old switcheroo, we don't really know, but as we know it right now, Valdor is the Yellow King. Who is the Yellow King? That's probably a question that people are going to ask. Well, the Yellow King is this individual that has been running things in the background, and both Eisenhorn and Ravenor have been hunting this individual. Now, we know that Valdor has created a pocket dimension, and inside this pocket dimension, Valdor is creating his own empire, his own army. He's amassing this army. We know that this army consists of something called Grails, which are basically cloned blanks. Now, when I say clone blanks, so Beckwin, who we know from the Eisenhorn series, has been cloned a number amount of times. When Beta Beckwin, who is from Penitent, stumbles upon this pocket dimension, she's shocked to see her face in some of the characters that greet her, because there's a bunch of clones, and the King in Yellow is using these as weapons against the warp, potentially. Also, we know that he has Space Marines at his side, and also Custodes on his side as well. Now, one of the main questions I keep seeing is, what is Valdor's plan? What is he going to do with this army, with this empire that he's building up? Now, Ravenor has a theory that he's trying to acquire the Emperor's true name. If you have a true name over an individual in Warhammer 40,000, that gives you power over that said individual. That's how it works with Psyker stuff and, you know, the warp and all that kind of stuff that goes along with that. So Ravenor is hunting the Yellow King because he wants to potentially stop that, if that is the actual plan of Valdor. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is Eisenhorn and the retinue that follows him. Now, if you haven't been following the story, Eisenhorn is basically been made like a traitor in the eyes of the Inquisition. Ravenor has basically been sent out to stop Eisenhorn and arrest him if he can. Both of them at this moment in time are working together to see, you know, the Yellow King's downfall. You know, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. That sort of plan, and I'm sure they'll you know, clash heads later on in the third Beckwin book. But what's really interesting is the person that is following around Eisenhorn, that is working for Eisenhorn, because it's a Space Marine, and it's identified that the Space Marine is Alfarius. Now, before you absolutely lose your mind, yes, this could probably be just another Alpha Legionnaire pretending to be Alfarius. We all know how the Alpha Legion works. But what's really interesting in this Beckwin book, in like this full series, is the symmetry of reflection. And just stay with me for a second, because this can get kind of confusing. In the pocket dimension, it's basically like a mirrored version of where they are. If you look at Beckwin, Beta Beckwin, she is like a mirrored version of Beckwin. There's that kind of like similarity between twins and, you know, like the opposite of each other. So I personally think that this potentially could be the actual real Alfarius. And before someone says, wait, what are you on about, Valrak? The Alfarius died to dawn on terror. We know now from the Alfarius Primarch book that is not the case. That was not Alfarius who died. That was indeed Omegon. And this is where it gets very interesting for me, because Alfarius was the first Primarch discovered. We all believe that it was Horus. He was the first. He was, you know, the golden son of the Emperor to be discovered. That is not the case. Alfarius was the first to be discovered, and he was trained heavily by Malcador. Malcador actually trained him to block his mind from Psykers. So again, when he's in the presence of Ravenor and Eisenhorn, he has the ability to stop people from reading his thoughts. So potentially, this could be the Alfarius putting whatever in his mind he wants people to think. Another connection is, if he is the real Alfarius and the King in Yellow is actually Valdor, then that is another connection which is really, really strong. Because as I've stated, since Alpharius was the first Primarch found, he was trained off Malcador, and he was also very, very close to Valdor. He was actually trying to improve Valdor as much as he can with the protection of the Emperor. There's this great scene from the Alpharius Primarch book where he's basically like in this tower, and he's got a sniper rifle, and he's so-called trying to kill the Emperor. He's not trying to kill the Emperor. He's just showing that basically he could kill him if he wanted to, and the Custodians were lacking in their defense. Valdor burst through the bloody wall like, you cannot kill the Emperor, you know, I'm his protection. And it's like, your plan has failed, Alpharius. And Alpharius like had this little button saying like he did turn all the defense lasers against the ship, and with this pressing this button, he could have just blew the Emperor's ship out the sky. So Valdor actually failed, and technically that is where like the blood game started from, to trying to improve the Emperor's defense and the defense of the Imperial Palace. So we can see that the connections that have been established so far are going way, way back, and it looks like it's leading to something big. And when I say it's leading to something big, it's because there is a lot of presence from other races, from actual traitor legions. Like, I think there's 5 craft worlds coming to this world now to try and stop the Yellow King, aka Valdor, and his plans from happening. The Eldar are getting involved. They are concerned about what the hell is going on. There's something else that's in this book which still confuses me to this day, and it is a Traitor War Band. And when I say a Traitor War Band, they appear, but there's Night Lords in here, there's Thousand Sons, there's a Raven Guard in there, and there's an Iron Hand in there as well. And they're all working to try and stop the Yellow King or get information in this pocket dimension as well. I'm like, why are these group of Marines all working together when these chaps should hate each other? And again, there's so much going on in this book that is still not clear, that is still confusing. The Emperor's children are after him. The Word Bearers are after the Yellow King. They all want to get access to this pocket dimension to stop the King in Yellow from doing what he is doing. So whatever he's doing means that it is going to be absolutely big. This could potentially bring down Xenos races, and it could potentially bring down Chaos or the Warp. Now, one of the strongest theories on what potentially could the Yellow King / Valdor be doing is, of course, getting the Emperor's true name. This is what Ravener theorizes about, because again, if you get the true name over someone, it gives you power. Why would that matter over the Emperor? Why would Valdor want that? Is Valdor going to try to control the Emperor? I don't think so. Valdor was one of the people who was closest to the Emperor, apart from Malcador. We know Malcador's not around, and we know Valdor is still around because he didn't die at the Siege of Terror. That is officially in the lore. Now, over on my King in Yellow reveal video, this is the video that we first learnt about this, there was a really interesting comment for a chap called Helix, and he stated about an Egyptian myth, and we all know that 40k is based on myths from other, dynasties and all this other stuff that's happened in the real world. And he was talking about the sun god Ra. And the sun god Ra gave away his name to the goddess Isis, so she had power over him to heal him. And I'm wondering if that is the potential for what is going to go on in this story. Is Valdor trying to get the name of the Emperor so he can heal the Emperor and bring him back into the current storyline? It's a good theory, and I think it's probably one of the strongest theories, but since I've been listening to this a bit more and I've opened my mind a little bit, I am convinced that the King in Yellow is a Primarch. I still think Valdor is involved. I still think Valdor is a part of this whole setup of the pocket dimension, trying to help the Emperor, trying to help the King in Yellow. But I am now convinced, personally, that Valdor is not the King in Yellow, and the actual King in Yellow is none other than Rogel Dawn. Now, before you start laughing and say, God damn it, Valrak, with your Primarch, your Rogel Dawn and stuff, just hear me out for a second, okay? So Rogel Dawn is probably one of the most loyal sons of the Emperor. When the Emperor died, he was heartbroken. He basically threw himself at the Iron Cage and he won that. I know people say he didn't win that, but technically he did win that because the Iron Warriors retreated from that planet. Anyway, it would make sense for him to go into this pocket dimension and try to make a new army to help the Emperor to win back the Imperium. I know that we don't know the final outcome of Rogal Dorn's life. At this moment in time, we don't know what happened to Rogal Dorn. I know some people are going to start quoting Conrad Kurz, saying he got ripped apart and stuff. Kurz has been known to be wrong when it comes to his visions, may I add. And we know that GW themselves retconned Dorn's death. For what I mean by retconned Dorn's death is that in the Ian Watson Space Marine book, it was Dorn's entire skeleton encased in amber, and then it changed to Dorn's fist encased in amber. So GW have gone out their way to change Dorn's fate, in my opinion. And it would make sense that Dorn has built this empire. The Imperial Fists were known for building awesome empires and constructing this type of stuff. So when you go into this pocket dimension, it is like another mini Imperial Imperium, and that would make sense then for where Dorn's been over the last 10,000 years. He's slowly been building up this army to help the Emperor. Another really cool thing as well, and again, this may just be me as a fanboy, grasping onto straws. There's a quote that has always stuck with me. It's stuck with me since I ever bloody listened to this in an audiobook, and it was Vulcan in the Beast Arises series, and he's talking to Corland, and he says to Corland, I will make sure I tell your father of your, heroism, of your dedication to helping out. And Corland's like, what the hell is he on about? Doesn't he know that, Dad's dead? Because at this time, the Imperial Fist thinks that Dorn is dead. But if Vulcan knew about this pocket dimension, which I think he would know about the pocket dimension, since Rogal Dorn trusted Vulcan, then Vulcan would know then to tell Corland that, I am going to tell Dorn about you and your deeds and stuff like that, because Dorn, in fact, is alive and he is building this empire to help fight for the Imperium and try to bring the Emperor back into the storyline. I've been reading so many cool theories about potentially what could happen, and each one of them has merit on its own. What I personally believe is that something big is going to happen. You don't have all this build up just to go away with just absolutely nothing. Whoever the King in Yellow is, Valdor, Dawn, someone bloody else, I know it's going to be massive. 5 craft worlds are coming, traitor legions, the word bearers and the Emperor's children, and the little merry band of Astarte is working together, which shouldn't be working together. All this doesn't make sense. So something massive must be happening for all this stuff to come together, and potentially it could change the 40k lore as we bloody know it. I trust in Dan to give us a absolutely brilliant ending. I say ending, this could just be the start. I know it's the ending, well, the potential of this will be the ending of the 3rd Beckwin book, but maybe we'll get another trilogy of this going into this or something bloody else. But I trust Dan and his ways of words to bring us some of the best stuff that we've read in a long, long time. Alright everyone, thank you for coming, thank you for watching this video. Sorry if I've just been rambling for the past, 10 plus minutes, but I just want to talk about this. I've really been so excited about this whole stuff that's happening. I've always said the Eisenhorn, the Ravenous series, the Beckwin series, well, when it's finally finished, have been some of the best stories I've ever read when it comes to Warhammer 40,000. And there's actually one more thing which I actually forgot to talk about. We all know that Eisenhorn is being turned into a TV show, and the story so far that is being told can potentially be put onto the screen. Imagine all this going down on our TV sets. That is something else for you to go, wow, the potential of this could be absolutely massive. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, theories yourselves, please post them down below. I love to read them. I love to interact and stuff like that. Post down there, and have a great day. See you now, and bye-bye.